Hi, welcome back to The Scent Advocate. Tonight I want to talk about fragrances that are skin scents with a twist. Skin mixed with sex. So that hormonal thing that happens to human skin when you are in a moment of attraction or passion and there is a saltiness, a change in the chemistry, a reaction to another person or to a very particular mood. And the point of this video is not to be overly descriptive or go down a road that is unnecessarily explicit. If you are an adult and you know, then you know. And so there are fragrances that, like I said, kind of mimic that experience, that fragrance, that very human, almost animalic reaction of the human to another and during intimacy. So let's start out with an absolute gem in my collection. It is Ambilux by Marlou. Have you tried this? This is an eau de parfum. It is 50 ml, and it's okay. So on the back, it talks about some notes, which I don't usually do, but since they're there, I'll say summer sweat, intimate scents, dried weeds, dunes, sense of heat and sun, deer musk reimagined, facets of salt and chalk, waxen finish, cumin, ylang, incense, and costus. Yes to all of that. For me, it started out with a punch of cumin. And it, at first, I was just thinking, no. But then I couldn't stop smelling it. I had to keep at it. And something about it was attracting me, and it almost felt bad. It's that strong of an erotic fragrance, and it also leans masculine. So I mean, it's unisex, but if you have to pick, it leans masculine. And there's a point where in that moment, right, when you're in that moment with another person, it's hard to tell who smells like what. You know, things just come together. And this is definitely that kind of fragrance. But for me, it smells more masculine than feminine. I definitely get the solar notes and the sweat, the musk, but it's a human musk. I've smelled a lot of deer-like musks in other fragrances, and this is, for me, more human. I think they got that musk-cumin mix spot on, and at first, it's overpowering, or I guess it can be. For me, it was. And then it got more tender. And what's interesting about the notes on this fragrance is it actually talks about dried weeds, but what I get, and I also get this note in a few other fragrances I'm going to talk about, is the smell of a flower pressed between pages of a hardcover book. Years ago, people used to do that. It preserved the flower, and for reasons that aren't clear to me, it didn't seem to damage the pages of the book. But books were heavy, these were large books, and you just press the flower in between and it preserved the flower. You get a little bit of that. And the dry down, like I said, there's still that intimacy, but it's intimacy dried down, quite literally. You know, maybe 30 minutes after, you know, it started out wet, now it's dry. And so This is a very realistic smelling, intimate fragrance. So if you haven't tried this, Ambilux by Marlou, give it a shot and let me know what you think after you try it. It's interesting, and one that I tried for a while, like I said, and I ended up having to get a full bottle. I just really love it. Now, would I wear this in a crowded space with lots of people? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't wear this to work. This is something special. It's, you know, for me. I wouldn't just wear this out. This is a personal decision, and definitely not something, in my opinion, that everyone would love all of the time. I think many people would love it in the right setting. So let me know what you think. A fragrance that I think is along the same lines, but I guess in the same genre, is of course Papillon's Salome. And this is an eau de parfum 50 ml. I also tested this one for quite a while before I decided to buy a bottle. I tested this before I tested Ambilux. This one is probably, well, I think it's more talked about in, you know, the frag.com, but it's definitely, in my opinion, a gorgeous classic. It's intimate, very intimate. I think this one leans feminine, whereas Ambilux leaned masculine. This has more of that pressed flower note, particularly carnation, but I think there's Turkish rose in this as well. And you get that. So if you were to have 2 flowers pressed in a book, and dried out over the years, it would smell, it would have that note that I'm talking about here. There's cumin, there's probably castoreum in here, there's an antique perfume note, maybe a jasmine, an old school jasmine that's maybe a little bit past its prime, but still has some ginger to it, you know, just got some spark to it still. And again, this is something that I wouldn't wear in, you know, a crowded area. I wouldn't wear this to work. This is personal, it's intimate, it's special. And if you haven't tried it and these sort of descriptions appeal to you, give it a shot. It's not for everyone. I find it can be very polarizing in my experience listening to other commentators about it, but I think it's absolutely essential to my collection, and I had to have it after trying it a lot over and over again. Salome. On the heels of Salome, I also have Hera. This is an extrait de parfum, also from Papillon 50 ml. My husband hates this fragrance. I actually spoke about it in another video, and I love it. It is an intimate fragrance. However, I think it's less so than the others I've talked about this evening. This is more soft, powdery. It's got some sandalwood in there. It's got just a stronger overall floral. There's some cumin. I think there's probably, I'm detecting some oak moss. There was definitely oak moss, by the way, in Salome. And I think that really gives it that sheep special quality. This has that same thing. So I'm guessing it's the oak moss. There's hay in Salome, I think, and I'm not sure if that's in here. It isn't as wet. This is more of a dry, so perhaps there's a hay note in here as well. but it is also a very sexy, feminine leaning fragrance that this is probably safer to wear in a social setting. But I would definitely say this is an evening fragrance as opposed to daytime. And I would say cold weather because in the heat, this would probably get cloying. I don't know for sure, but that's my best guess. It is a more tame version of the other fragrances and much more floral, much more toned down. So have you tried Hera? Absolutely beautiful. Let me know in the comments. In keeping with those fragrances, there is the classic Guerlain Mitsouko. Now, I got Mitsouko after I got Salome. I'd heard so much that Salome had a lot in common with Mitsouko. And then I heard that Mitsouko had a lot in common with another really amazing fragrance that smells nothing like Salome. So I was intrigued. I had to try Mitsouko. I think Mitsouko smells like a woman after whom it is allegedly named, and it also smells salty to me, very sea-like salty. So in my mind, this woman lives on an island, perhaps an island in Southeast Asia, because after all, my understanding at least about the naming of Mitsouko, it had to do with a beautiful woman who was of Japanese descent and or from Japan. I'm not sure exactly, but my understanding is it's named after her. And so I think about, you know, this beautiful woman in Japan on a beach, and, you know, she's pining away for someone she loves, and the salt air and her skin as she is longing for this person, with what has to be gorgeous, floral, lush foliage in the background. You get this. There is, I think, a good amount of oak moss in this, also making it that sheep-like accord, which I happen to absolutely love. I think this is really unique. It can be put in the same family as some of these other, you know, kind of erotic fragrances, but this one is it's a real gem. It's singular in my opinion, and I believe this is probably way reformulated from the original. I heard the original was, you know, uniquely special, and this is perhaps different somehow. I've never smelled the original, but I think this is absolutely wonderful. I would wear this out, but I wouldn't overdo it. This is, by the way, 75 ml Eau de Parfum. I believe Guerlain has other levels of intensity, other formulations, but I think this works just great. I love it. I wouldn't overdo it though, because again, it's got that kind of sexy, erotic, hyper femininity to it that may be a little too much for some settings. So just enjoy with caution, or be conscientious. Wow, gorgeous stuff. Mitsouko by Guerlain. Next is What a Stroke of Luck. I found Femme by Rochas. Wow. And I have gone through so much of this. This is, let's see, it's an eau de toilette, and it is 100 ml. This stuff definitely packs a punch, and it goes to the theory that, you know, just because it says eau de toilette, it doesn't mean it's going to be a weak performer. One person's extrait is another person's eau de toilette. This for me is a powerhouse. So I tend to overspray it because I love it so much. Oh my goodness. This is a mainstream, feminine, sexy sheep. Heavy on the oak moss. It's got a little of the cumin and maybe some castoreum or styrax in there, but definitely more mainstream in terms of wearability amongst others. I think you can get away with it in the evening. If you don't overdo it, I overdo it. So I tend to save this for home where it's just me and my husband. It is beautiful. It's got a blonde wood in there too. I think this fragrance has been around for quite a while. I don't know why everyone doesn't talk about this. It is fabulous. It's unique. It's within this kind of erotic fragrance genre, but it's more mainstream, like I said, more wearable. It's got a little bit of, what is that? Like maybe a slight hint of a dry, unsweetened cocoa, and there's a richness to it. And it's probably light enough for a late summer evening when it's not super hot. But lovely, lovely stuff. It just smells feminine, hence the name Femme. Have you tried this fragrance by Rochas? And if so, what do you think? Next, this one I didn't think of as an erotic fragrance. And I love this house. I have so much from Stranger's Parfumerie, and this is Oliver. The first time I smelled it, by the way, this is an eau de parfum. It is 30 ml. Great stuff by Prenlum Rose. The first time I smelled this, it gave me a more mainstream impression, and I did not think of sex. Then I read the perfumer's notes on this, and there was an erotic vision in mind with this, apparently. There is a freshness to this. It's a youthful freshness, and I don't get a sex note from it, but I wanted to talk about it because I believe the perfumer was indicating that was the intent. I could have misunderstood it, but that is what I took away. So they list the notes on the bottle, and I'm going to read them to you. So it's mandarin, mojito, apricot, cypress, sea salt, quince, ambergris, grass, clean shirt, orris vetiver, bergamot, tobacco, ambrette, grape leaves, moss, fig, and magnolia. I get a very fresh, green fruit, not sweet, sea salt, clean, young masculine fragrance. But I think this is truly unisex. I think I tell myself it's masculine because that was in the perfumer's description, but I really get a unisex out of this. And the more it sits, the more green it gets. And so the moss to me isn't an oak moss, so I don't get that sheep. It leans more fresh, clean, like skin scent meets a skin scent meets a green, not a fougere necessarily, but a fresh broken twig. And the sea salt is just so sophisticated. This isn't just any sea salt, right? This is at a high end, you know, like a Cape Cod type thing. This is a rich sea salt. This is sea salt as it sits on the skin of really wealthy people who smell really good because their clothes are freshly laundered from, you know, someplace that uses great, I don't know, fabric softener, whatever. I guess you get a hint of fig, maybe I'm stretchy. See, this is why I don't love to read the notes. I mean, it's great to see and it's fun to talk about, but they play on my mind, and then it's like, oh yeah, I smell it now. Oh yeah, definitely. I will say that depending on my mood, or maybe my body chemistry at the time, I do get a more masculine take on it, and the sea salt can come across as slightly sweaty, but sweaty, a sweat on a man who is freshly showered. And there is no animalic anything, human animalic anything to it. It's just, you know, the residue of some very neutral soap. But I love this stuff. I don't know. Have you tried it? I don't get a sex note out of it, but if you do, let me know in the comments. The last one I want to talk about is called Carnicure, and it is also from Marlou, like Ambilux was, but I only have a sample of this. So this one, unlike Ambilux, this one has a I kind of like it. So here is Ambilux, here is Carnicure. Carnicure. So Ambilux is great. I described it already. I'm not going to do it again, but Carnicure, you now need a shower. Okay. The deed is done, and perhaps done again and again and again, and it's now time for a shower. You're leaning in the direction of ripe. It's almost not okay. Like, you're like this, and you had a great time, everyone's happy, but it's time for a shower. And so because of that, I struggle with whether I need a full bottle of this. I will tell you that I've tested this on my skin a few times, and it doesn't smell like this, like how it does on the paper on my skin. It doesn't make me feel like I need a shower when I'm wearing it. And yet, when I wear it, it leans too similarly to Ambilux for me to buy a bottle. I've had it in cart many times and not pulled the trigger. But I feel like Ambilux scratches that itch for me. Have you tried Carnicure? I don't know what else to say about it. I feel like I would benefit from the opinions of others on this. So have you tried it? If you have, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't yet liked or subscribed and you like the video, please like it. And if you're interested in fragrance commentary from a non-expert in the field, but someone who has been collecting most of her life and who truly appreciates the artistry of fragrance, particularly niche and indie brands, then please consider subscribing. Let me know what you think of all this stuff. And I guess that's it for tonight. So see you soon. Thanks. Bye.